Hi, this video here is dedicated to graphing linear equations when you have equations in slope-intercept form. This is actually one of the easiest things to do. So let's talk about this. I'm going to get my ruler ready. So this is the process how you're going to follow it. You're going to have this equation. We have the slope here. And this point, it's called slope-intercept form. This point here is your y-intercept. So for the slope 1/2, it's a positive number. So the way we can view that, it's the easiest way to view that, this is 1 unit up and 2 units to the right. But the first thing we need to do is use the y-intercept, which is 3. So that on the y-axis, positive 3 is here. And then from that point, you're going to go 1 up, 2 to the right. 1 up, 2 to the right. You can actually repeat that process multiple times. So I'm going 1 up, 2 to the right. Okay. All I need to do after that is use my ruler, line it up very carefully, draw the line, and there you go. Okay. Let's take a look at this problem. So we have our y-intercept is -2. Please keep the signs in mind, because if it says -2, that means your y-intercept is going to be -2. So this -2 is our y-intercept. Our slope is 3/2, which means +3. So I'm going to go +3. That means I'm going up, and 2 positive, I'm going to the right. So from -2. So first we need to do always plot the point at -2, and then I'm going to go 3 units up from there, 1, 2, 3, and then 1, 2 to the right. And just like I said before, you can repeat that process multiple times. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, and you will see a bunch of points that are going to be lying on the same line. Use the ruler, line it up, draw the line. Example 3. So what happens if the slope is not given to you as a fraction? It is actually a very easy thing to address, but first of all, this is our y-intercept. Right? If the slope is 3, you can always write it over 1. You do need a fraction when you graph, because you need to see rise and run. So the easiest thing to do, if it's not a fraction, you make it into a fraction by simply putting 1 there. It's still positive, so we're going to go 3 units up, 1 to the right, correct? We're going to start at 1, positive 1, so it's right there. I'm going to go 3 units up, and 1 to the right, 1, 2, 3, 1. I always recommend plotting more than just 2 points, because one of those points will be the y-intercept. And it's very helpful if you do it more than 1, because it's going to give your line more stability, so to say. Okay, and there we go. There's our line. Alright, next problem, we have 2 things that I need to address. First of all, the slope is a negative number, so we need to properly address that. The second thing is, sometimes students say, when you ask them about a line, an equation like that, what's the y-intercept here, they say there is none. That is actually an incorrect statement. There is no such thing as no y-intercept unless you have a vertical line. And that if you don't see something plus a number or minus a number, the way we're going to view it is it's +0. So this is our y-intercept. It is at the origin. So right there. Second thing, we have slope of -2. We know we're going to put it over 1. So if the number here is negative, what we need to do is we're going to need to go down, and this one we're still going to the right because it's positive, right? So from this point, we're going to go down 2, 1 to the right, down 2, 1 to the right, down 2, 1 to the right. You can do as many points as you want, and as many points as the grid will allow you. If you have large enough grid, you can make a bunch of points there. There's nothing wrong with that. Okay? And there's our line. I also want to point out something to you. If you notice, 1, 2, and 3, the slopes are positive numbers, and each one of those lines is going to rise. In example 4, our slope is a negative number, and this line here is false, right? So keep that in mind. All right. More problems? So now we're going to take a look at a situation when the slope is going to be a negative number. But before we do that, let's address this. This is our y-intercept, right? At -6. So we know we're going to be starting at -6. And then the slope is negative. So a most common question is, does the negative, well, a few things students ask. Sometimes they ask, does the negative go both on top and the bottom? The answer is no, because if you put a negative on top and the bottom, negative over negative is going to give you positive. Second thing is, where do you put the negative? You can put it anywhere you want. So for example, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the negative on top. You can put it on the bottom as well. It's not going to change anything. So according to the way we view it is we're supposed to go down and to the right. Negative on top, positive on the bottom. But we do have one slight problem here. We don't actually have enough space here to go down. Keep in mind that the grids, the coordinate plane is infinite, but in reality when you do it on a piece of paper, it is going to have some boundaries. So I don't actually have room to go 7 units down and plot another point. So what I'm going to do instead is then you can reverse both directions. So instead of putting negative on top, I can put positive on top and negative on the bottom. That's perfectly legal. And then I'm going to have to go up and to the left. Correct? So from this point, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's my point. I don't have a lot of room here to plot another point. Well, I might have another space for another point. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Here's another point. I was not correct. I do have space for another point. Okay? And you connect them. But I do want to point out one thing with regards to what about this? Well, if you go to another point like this one, I can actually go down 7 units, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then go 5 units to the right as we suggested, and it's going to put me at one of the other points. So there's nothing wrong with this. We were just concerned with the limit of with the boundaries of our grid. This problem here, so the y-intercept is 8 as we already see. So 8 is there. We have a similar problem. It's 4 over 1 for the slope, right? And we think we want to go 4 units up and 1 unit to the right, but we do not have enough room to go 4 units up and 4 to the right. So what can I do? Instead of that, I can go down and to the left. Either way is fine. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. And I always tell students, when you are going to do this, keep in mind that when you look at the sign of the slope, make sure that goes well with what you are doing, because if I'm doing this line and I see that the slope is positive, I know my line is supposed to rise. So if somehow you get a line that goes like that, then you're doing something wrong, because that line is certainly not the one with the positive slope. That's a line like that, like when I'm holding my pen, is the one with negative slope. That would be positive slope. All right, 2 more easy examples actually. This is one of those things you need to know it. Y equals 3 is a standard equation for a horizontal line. All you do is there's y equals 3 and you draw a horizontal line. And there you go, you're done. And example 8 is a vertical line. When it says x, when it says y equals 0, the line is going to be horizontal. When it says x equals 0, the line is going to be vertical. So x equals -4 is right there. And you are going to draw a line going up and down, and you're done. I hope you see that this is actually not a hard thing to do, and I hope this helps.